You have already survived things that should have broken you. Let that land, not as a compliment, as a fact, as evidence that deserves to be examined with the same rigor you would apply to any other evidence, because you have been systematically discounting it. You have been treating your own survival as routine, as something anyone would have done, as less than it is. And in doing so, you have been walking around with a completely inaccurate map of your own capacity, a map that underestimates your strength at the exact moments you need to know what you are actually capable of most. You are stronger than you think, not as a phrase you put on a poster, as a demonstrable, documented, lived in your own body fact. And today we are going to look at the evidence together, because the evidence is there, and it is overwhelming, and it is time you stopped ignoring it. Welcome to Motivation Daily. Today we are going to reconstruct your true strength from the inside out. Think about what the human body and mind are actually capable of when they are genuinely tested. In 1972, a plane carrying a Uruguayan rugby team crashed in the Andes Mountains. The survivors, 16 of them, endured 72 days at altitude in temperatures that dropped to negative 40 degrees Celsius at night, with almost no food, no rescue coming, and the complete absence of any external reason to believe they would survive. They made decisions in those mountains that no comfortable life could ever have prepared them for. They did what they had to do to stay alive. And when they finally walked out, 2 of them trekking for 10 days through the mountains to find help, the world was stunned not just by their survival, but by the quality of the human beings who had survived. The clarity they had found, the gratitude they carried, the absolute recalibration of what mattered that only comes from having stood at the absolute edge of existence and chosen, repeatedly, to remain on the living side of it. They did not know they were capable of that. Nobody does until they are asked. And the asking is never gentle. But the answer that comes back from the deepest part of a human being when the pressure is absolute, is almost always the same. More. I am capable of more than I thought. Think about Harriet Tubman, a woman who was born into slavery, who was beaten so severely as a child that she suffered a traumatic brain injury that caused narcoleptic episodes for the rest of her life, episodes where she would fall unconscious without warning, sometimes in the middle of a journey, sometimes in the middle of a situation where unconsciousness could mean death. She escaped slavery alone, and then, and this is the part that defines her, she went back, not once, 13 times. She went back into the most dangerous territory imaginable, with a bounty on her head, with the narcolepsy that could betray her at any moment, and brought out over 70 people. She later served as a spy and a scout for the Union Army during the Civil War. She lived into her 90s and said near the end of her life that she never ran her railroad by night and she never lost a passenger. She was asked once if she was ever afraid. She said yes, every time, and she went anyway. That is not superhuman strength. That is human strength, the real kind, the kind that coexists with fear, that operates in the presence of every reason to stop, that does not require the absence of terror to function. That strength lives in you. The same species, the same equipment, the same fundamental human architecture that produced Harriet Tubman produced you. Now, let me make this personal. Think about a moment in your own life. Not someone else's story, yours. When you did something you did not know you could do. When you held it together in a situation that demanded more than you thought you had. When you kept going past the point where stopping would have been completely understandable. When you showed up for someone who needed you even though you were depleted. When you rebuilt after something broke. When you spoke the truth when the lie was so much easier. When you chose yourself, when choosing yourself cost something real. That moment exists, probably more than one. And you have been filing those moments away as exceptions, as flukes, as things you just happened to get through rather than evidence of a capability that lives in you permanently and can be called on again. They are not exceptions. They are data. They are the most accurate data available about what you are actually made of. And the data says you are stronger than the story you have been telling yourself. Think about a woman named Diane, who raised 4 children alone after her husband left when the youngest was 8 months old. Not with a support system, not with financial security, with a terror so constant and so physical, she describes it as a presence in the room that she woke up with every morning for years. She had never paid a bill in her marriage, she did not know how to drive, she had not worked outside the home since before the children were born. By every practical measure, she was completely unequipped for the task in front of her. She learned, one terrifying thing at a time. She learned to drive, she learned to manage money, she went back to work in a job that was well below what her intelligence deserved, and she built from there. She put all 4 children through school, she bought her own home, she built a life that is entirely hers, built by her hands, from nothing, in the presence of a fear that never fully left, but that she refused to let make her decisions. She did not feel strong while she was doing it. She felt terrified. She felt alone. She felt completely out of her depth every single day for years. And she was strong anyway. Because strength is not the absence of fear. Strength is what happens when you keep moving in the presence of it. So, here is what I need you to do with this. The next time you are standing in front of something hard and the voice says you are not strong enough for this, I need you to answer it, not with a declaration, with evidence. Reach back into your own story and pull out the proof, the things you survived, the times you came through, the moments that demanded more than you thought you had and found it anyway. That evidence is yours. It belongs to you, and it is the most powerful rebuttal available to the lie that you are not enough for what is in front of you. You are stronger than you think. The record of your own life proves it. Now go act like it. Share this with someone who needs to be reminded of how strong they actually are. Subscribe to Motivation Daily. We show up every day to reflect your own strength back to you. Drop a comment and tell me about one moment in your life where you showed up stronger than you thought you could. Your story is someone else's proof. Let's go.